Christmas, everybody, from here at the K.O.E. Nation. I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E., sending out some holiday libations here with my indomitable broadcast partner, the one, the only,
the Holly Jolly Blend Master himself, Tony G. Like, share, subscribe.
Today we are going to get into a holiday release. Figured it's only fitting. Maker's Mark 101, 101 proof.
Marvelous.
A unique release from the Maker's Mark Distillery. Wait till tomorrow, folks. We will see if this one makes it into the bourbon tournament. So, but all that being said,
I love
the
color of this.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful. Like,
this is a new release, so if you're getting this as a gift for anybody, you can guarantee they probably never had it before.
That's fair.
While not everyone can visit our little distillery in Laredo, Kentucky, we bottled this 101 proof limited release so you too can experience the bolder side of our refined wheated bourbon, as we have shared it with special guests at our distillery for generations. Because yes, to get a bottle of this, you had to either visit their distillery or you could get it at duty-free stores.
Yeah.
And as we found out when we were in Houston, you have to actually be traveling internationally to even shop at a duty-free store.
I think they were lying to us.
Yeah, no, turns out they really weren't. But so this is the new release. It's now released to the public. Anybody can get their hands on it, but it's only going to be available for the holidays. So I'm sure you'll still be able to get some after Christmas. Like, no, December 26th, send it all back. And, you know.
It's got a really pleasant nose. It's not 101 proof nose.
No, it's very pleasant, very approachable nose.
Yeah.
Getting like caramel.
Yeah, it's just a very caramel of
an orchard
flavor.
Fruity influence, but not overwhelming.
I think like a pear.
Maybe it's because I'm almost thinking like caramel apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
my mind always correlates the two a lot because my grandma always used to make caramel apples.
Yeah.
She wouldn't say caramel. It's caramel apple.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so in my mind, and she had thick caramel on it, and that was how us kids would have our apples when we were kids. When the grandkids were over at her house, that was us eating our fruit. And so in my head, that's...
Makes sense.
This heavy caramel with light orchard fruit, I think that's where the...
Okay.
Yep. You know, boy, what a delightful smell to be reminded of when you get into a bourbon. So you can see why I think this is one of the most tremendous value whiskeys, because I got this for under $39.
Yeah, that's very nice.
So let's see how it hits the palate, and then we will grade on the classic scales of K.O.E.
Fair enough.
Heavy vanilla.
Yeah.
Very heavy.
It hits your palate and you think it's going to be more intense, but then it kind of subsides and you're just left with a spiciness on the back end.
I was about to say, there's a spice there when the oxygen hits your mouth.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of more typical of bourbon. Your Scotches and Irishes will have a minty. This will have a spicy, a cinnamony, or some sort of pepper allspice.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
This is marvelous. So we will grade this on the classic K.O.E. scale. Also, I will say before we get into that, my brother also really likes this stuff. We got into this, and this is the second bottle we had to purchase. The first one we finished before we could even review it. It's
a good one.
That's like in a bottle. If your King of Extreme is going to get through a bottle before it can even get reviewed, that's fandom. So as a bourbon, as a whiskey, as a cask-aged spirit, as your choice of shelving, and then the secret fifth question. So as a bourbon, what would you grade this, Tony G?
I'm torn between 3.75 and 4.
Why is that?
Because it does remind me a little bit of regular Maker's Mark, just stronger, but it has a definite little something extra, I feel like. in terms of flavor.
Yeah, I've had Maker's Extra, and I'll be honest. Maker's is another distillery where I can say I like everything they put out except their base offering. I'm just not a fan. It's not something I would generally spring for, but everything else from their entire distillery, I am a huge fan of.
I think I could go 4. I could go 3.75. I'm kind of caught in between.
I'm gonna go 4.
Okay. I'll say 3.75.
All right, compromise, folks.
Exactly.
So
the average is perfect then.
as a we already did bourbon. As a whiskey,
I'm going to give this a 4 as a whiskey because this is really, really approachable for being 101 proof. I love the nose on it for being a high ABV, and it's not overbearing on the palate. Like, you can drink this, you can sip this, and you're not feeling like you're just drinking straight grain ethanol. This is really a great sipper.
With bourbon, it's always handy to give the audience a look because they can't add coloration to the bourbon. This has to come from the oak cask.
Oh, great color. Yeah, I'll say 4.
Hate to agree, but I'm going to agree.
There you go.
Because, yeah, it's approachable. It's easy to drink. There's a lot you can do with it.
Oh, yeah.
And, again, if you have either an experienced drinker or a novice drinker, this would be a good one to have around a holiday fire, all kinds of fun times. You're all around the fire at the house, whatever, and having a little bit of Maker's Mark 101. In fact, I might actually take this to one of my family Christmases. So
there you go.
Now, in terms of cask-aged spirits,
I'm gonna say, oh man, I'm kind of torn again between 3.75 and 4, but I think I'm going to go ahead and give this one the nod to 4 because something about it just, not because it's a limited release, but I don't know, it's just so pleasant on the palate that I feel like they did take a little bit of extra care of this. And like the color, the nose is good, the palate's nice, it's approachable, it's 101. I really just think they did a good job getting to where they wanted to get. Like, they didn't cut corners here. I think they did the right thing.
I'm going to agree with you. 4 stars, which means my review the whole way through, 4-star whiskey in any way you want to measure it. Which, that's not off.
Yeah.
You just were a little less generous as a bourbon because, to be frank, we've had some pretty awesome bourbons.
Yeah, there you go.
But the Maker, like I said, Maker's has really kind of captured my imagination in terms of bourbon quality, especially their store picks are out of this world. Yeah. They compete with any of the weeded bourbons, the Wellers and all that kind of stuff. But don't look this one over. This is definitely worth a try. Now, here's an interesting, how did you rate it in cask age? 4. So, shelving. This is the interesting question.
It's so close to being a contender for a top shelf bourbon, but I'm probably going middle shelf. That's probably the stigma of the distillery. Yeah. Which isn't fair at all because it's like you said, everything past the entry level Maker's Mark.
It's right there actually.
Which would be this guy. Everything past that does stand out in a pretty unique way on its own legs.
You should grab the 46.
I'm really a fan of everything.
And if you can't find this, the 46 is actually really good too. I mean, nice. Like I said, if this is all you can find, and this is something
it's much cooler.
This is one of the only nice whiskeys that some people can find in grocery stores. Yeah, I think this 46 is definitely worth it, but this 101 is just up. And I'm with you. I've had it sitting on my top shelf. I've had it sitting on my middle shelf.
There you go.
Will probably put it next to a few other weeded bourbons that I have on my top shelf.
Wow.
Like my Maker's Store pick and my Wellers.
There you go.
So this one is good enough for top shelf. It can also be middle shelf. It's incredibly diverse. It's incredibly easy to mix.
Twist?
It's a twist.
Okay.
Some people think that's a big deal.
It's not to me.
To me is, and even with Makers, they utilize synthetic corks, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because with alcohol, it won't happen, but some corks can be prone to leaking. Sometimes even they can grow mold in them. So that's if you store it with just a small bit of water in it and don't tend to it for a while. Alcohol, I think that's actually impossible to happen.
Yeah,
I think like it just can't happen. But yeah, some people give a hard time to the twist off. They're fine. Some of my favorite wines have twist off caps. Okay, it's not a big deal.
No.
If they had access to this kind of sealing technology in 1524,
we wouldn't even have corks.
Some of the highest end wines for micro-oxidization, and that's it. That'd be the only cork we'd have. So,
yeah.
But this is marvelous
really
offering. Now, the secret question, Tony.
Yes.
Yeah, if you were to find this bottle for $39 or below, would you buy it?
I want to pick this up before the end of the year because I'm trying to enhance my bourbon selection on my shelves. I just got a big, nice hutch to move all my whiskeys into, and I want this on my shelf. It's probably going to be on my middle shelf, but I'm going to get a bottle of this before it disappears for another year.
And I'd recommend you all do the same.
Or you're going to pick one up for me if you go before me.
Yeah. I was like, hey, T, I'm here. Do you want me to grab you a bottle?
Yes.
Yes, I will. We'll square up later. So, folks, this is amazing. Wow, T finished off his dram.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really good. It's very impressive bourbon.
I'm known to say around here, folks. All that being said, thank you for joining us here at the K.O.E. Nation for a very special holiday edition. Maker's Mark 101. Excellent stuff. I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E. And Tony, I'm going to wish you a Merry Christmas. We're going to be amongst our own families
And
when this hits.
Well.
But this was our way of getting together before the holiday hit. So I wish you a very Merry Christmas, sir.
Indeed.
And I wish all of you out there a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining us. Like, share, subscribe, but most of all, be good to those around you. Be good to those who you wish were around you. Just try to be a little bit better to each other this year. I think that's the best we could ask for. I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E., signing off and handing it off to my indomitable broadcast partner, the one, the only,
the Holly Jolly Blendmaster, Tony G. Kiddos, go to bed. Santa Phil's got a lot of shooters to shove in your parents' stockings.
Merry Christmas.